Speed Sport Talk 100.9. Now, probably some of the biggest news come out this week, and it's got a lot of people excited with the return of Russell Ingall to Bathurst. And talking to him today, I think he was one of the most excited about the whole thing. Is that right, Russell?
Well, I think Paul Miles was. He came out with exactly that phrase, I'm excited, because I know a little company that he used to have many moons ago called the Big Kev Cleaning Products.
Yep, that's right.
So that was his catchphrase, I'm excited. So he bowled that a few times. But, yeah, I suppose it is up to a point. It's a bit of everything. It's a bit unexpected. Interesting, maybe a bit of lunacy thrown in there as well, but either way, it was definitely left field, and I'm pretty sure not too many people saw it coming.
Did you see it coming, Russell?
No, I wasn't expecting the phone call from Mr. Dane. I thought that, well, he usually calls me about other stuff, and that day when he called, I thought he'd want something, or he'd want something that I wasn't going to get paid for, so that's his usual calls. So, and I wasn't expecting when he started rolling this out, and I thought it was actually he was having me on, and after 20 minutes, I thought, I think this guy's serious. I thought, Jesus, but it took a couple of days before he. Actually, I said, geez, I've got to think about this, Roland. Let's just park up for a little bit, let me get my head around it. And so we left it for 3 or 4 days, actually, and then touched base again and started talking how we're going to do it.
I've got to admit, when I saw it there, I checked the date. I thought, is this an old email coming through from the 1st of April? Of course it was.
No, but actually... we were talking about making the launch actually on that day. On the 1st of April would have been quite good, but the stars didn't quite align for that. But no, it was a serious gig, and I suppose once it started, explaining what was it about and the main aim for it, and then obviously they wanted to give Brock another stab at it because they want to give him as many miles as they can on the mountain, and also there's no doubt that he's one of the drivers in auditioning for the Wing Cup seat. So I think there's a lot of things there that are attached to it as well. And I suppose I'm just the one in the middle that's trying to keep it on the straight and narrow and make sure that he does get laps. Number one. So and that's what it was about. The thing is, I could ask, why? Why? Number one, why am I doing it? And I'm still sort of half working that out at the moment, to be quite honest. As I was in the gym this morning and sweating like a dog and thinking,
why am I doing this?
Why am I doing this to myself once again? And legs feel like they've been hit with baseball bats. But I suppose from my side of things, it's just, how can you pass up going to that joint? Like, it's just, and it could very well be my last time that I'll ever go there. So to go with such an opportunity to do it right, with the right team, and have one last swing at it, well then, it's pretty hard to pass up. It's not an easy one.
No, when you say you're going there for the right team, well, you are. The Triple Eight they're the team at the moment, and you've got one of the young guns. Well, he's only 18, young Brock Feeney, but I guess you're the levelling or the steadying hand there with Brock, are you?
Well, that's why, because the question gets asked, why don't you put 2 young guys in it, not just one? And the problem is that's been done before, and quite a few times it hasn't ended well, which means none of them get a run at it, because it's usually end up hanging out of a wall or they have issues during the race or someone shunts it and then they both miss out on the experience. So I think that was Roland's theory behind it, that, if there's someone in it that, knows his position in the team, look after the car and bring it in every stint, then Brock will get a good run at it, so everyone wins out of it, so there is always a risk when you get two young kids in there, because no matter what, they'll get behind the wheel, they know the position they're in, they start competing with each other, and then the audition program starts, and that's when it goes pear-shaped, where I don't have to audition. I've been there, done that, and I've got the trophy to prove it. So that was the theory behind it. And when you think about it, you go, okay, well, no, that's half smart then. Yeah, I get it. The other drivers he was considering, there's a couple other drivers in the frame, but they're both overseas European drivers, because Roland does like European drivers and rate them as I do. I think there's a lot of European drivers that probably even aren't racing at the moment that I reckon are probably every bit as good as, the people here. But with the travel situation and never know with lockdowns and all the rest of it, that was a risky proposition. So that's why they just kept it local as far as who was going to sit in the seat.
It's never been the kindest place to European drivers anyhow, has it, Bathurst, really? Well, that race in particular.
Yeah, no, he had a pretty good run there when he ran that wild card, the Xbox car. And, that nearly got up, but they ran a bit short on fuel at the end, but that was up for a podium, So, yeah, the European drivers struggle with that little thing on the left quarter gear stick because they're all used to the Xbox paddle shift and something which the lunacies going on that they're trying to bring in this next generation thing, but that's another story. So they've always struggled with that a bit, but so I think that was the right call. Looking for someone experienced locally, it's just a safer bet that the car's going to be there at the end.
How much did one P. Morris have to do with it?
Well, it's had a lot to do with Brock. He comes from the Norwell Academy, as it's known now, and along with Brody Kostecki and Anton Di Pasquale, and so they've he's been one of that recent group, and Paul's definitely pushed his barrow with Roland, and for sure Roland asked Paul what he thought about it, and probably more so that whether I was still up for it, so more than anything, and Paul knows me very well and knows how competitive I am, so he gave it the endorsement and probably pushed it across the line.
Yeah, it's going to be your 25th start at Bathurst, is that right?
25th, yeah. Yep, in one form or another, and it's getting up there in numbers. It's a nice round number too, so it's good. It's good if it is the last one. The attenders on that, but I mean it's such an awesome bit of real estate, and it's tough. A lot of the tracks I don't miss. So I do watch a few of the races here and there. If I'm not, I did a bit of TCR racing last year, and so a lot of the tracks I don't miss. But then when Bathurst comes up, like one last year, and I sit there and watch it and go, oh, damn it! Yeah, that's the one you want to be at because it's such a unique joint and ever changing, and probably one of the few circuits where actually that knowledge is beneficial around there. The more you go around there, the better you get. There's no doubt about it. So a bit of information in the old hard drives is a good thing.
Yeah, I guess a lot of the knowledge will be coming back to you after the first lap up there, or so.
Yeah, for sure. And no doubt it's changed a bit. I mean, I haven't driven one of the current cars. A VF was the last one that I drove, and so no doubt the aero will be a lot different on these things. I was having a bit of a look around it yesterday and poked my head around, and it is a lot different. It's a lot different animal, and visually as well as mechanically, and it's definitely evolved a long way. It definitely evolved a long way in how much it cost. I know that. When I was looking around it, I thought I can see why they're tearing up so much money in that category. It's, the beautiful machinery, but Jesus, way over engineered. But it's going to be interesting driving that car. But we've got quite a few test days actually been allocated to it, which is good. So that'll get me up to speed as far as the truck situation goes, and getting up to speed back in the supercar, and then after that, I'm planning out now of driving different types of cars. I think we've got a stadium truck program organised, I think, so I'll be out in them again, And I'm actually racing with Brock this weekend at Sydney in the Hyundai XL endurance race on Saturday night. So,
okay, you're in that,
up there.
Bit of a tag team match, is it?
No, Brock said he was going up anyway. He said, "Oh, do you want to come up for that?" I said, "Yeah, I'll come up." So we've got the big XL that'll excite us.
Yeah. So you're getting itchy feet again, are you, with this happening?
Well, it's funny because, before I'm into normal life mode and just the head's into, I've been doing a bit of building up here on the coast and digging trenches and laying block work and just messing around with a bit of building. And so the whole motorsport thing is very remote. And then as soon as you get back into it, it's funny how the routine starts again. Okay, right. Do this, that, training, right, thinking about this, thinking about setups. And already you're flicking back into that, that mode of being competitive and, right, what do I do now? Right, get everything ready to, so it never leaves. It just sort of gets parked up.
I think the last time I spoke to you, actually, you'd been digging trenches all day, so you haven't lost that.
No, I'm pretty hands-on with that sort of thing. I'm not one of these Hollywood drivers like half the others, and, hang around coffee shops and ride around on push bikes.
Yeah, dig a few holes is better than push bikes, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. Needs a few more backs too. So, I've always been very, even when I was racing, I used to work on my own cars and I still mess around with stuff now. So, I've always been that way inclined. But as soon as things come back into race mode, I'm not sure whether my wife Julie's that keen on it. Because she just rolled her eyes and go, "Here we go again." I said, "Yeah, but it's only once."
Yeah, sure.
Only once,
except for the XL on the truck and.
She said that a few times, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Now, since this has been announced, I guess you've been back into training and dieting and the lot.
Yeah, I've dropped a couple of kilos already and got to get down to race weight, so which is probably halfway there already. So, that's one. I was talking to Shane Van Gisbergen the other day. We've got a little online show I do with Paul, and we did a bit of an interview with him, and he actually said, things haven't changed. Actually, the cars are a bit quicker. He said they're actually a little bit easier to drive around there because the aero is a lot more. They're quite good to drive across the top. He said the biggest thing you're going to have issue with is fitness, because he said the pace is so fast and the concentration is so high that it's a lot harder physically. So it was actually good information, because that's why I'm going to have to work on the hardest out of anything. I've got no doubt I can get up to speed and do the lap times, but he reckons it's just hard because it's such a fast pace. So that's what I'm going to have to get my head around and get into. But a lot of that's mental, though. I remember the first year I ever went to Bathurst, and I got out after the first session. I was obviously a lot younger, and I was racing in Europe, and I was pretty fit. And I thought, damn, these things are hard work, and it was actually the late great Peter Brock that gave me a bit of advice, because he saw I was sweating a bit, and I was talking to him at a press conference, and I said, geez, things are bloody hard. He said, look, he said, do you ever wonder why I put my elbow up on the windowsill when I'm going down Coverod? And I said, I don't know, it looks good on the cameras, I suppose. Maybe it's just, he said, no, I do it to relax. He said, I just prop my arm up there and just, breathe out, let go of everything, then one down Coverod, that gives me a breather until I get to the end, and then get back on with it. Because he said, if you don't do that, he said, you just wear yourself out. And then I thought about it a bit more, and I'm strangling the steering wheel all the way down Coverod, going a straight line when I don't have to, just wearing myself out. So it's just things like that, and that's what I say about knowledge of Bathurst. I definitely aren't going to be. I won't be the fittest person there. No doubt about it. But if I'm smart, it won't affect me because of things like that. Of how to approach the race and during the race as well. So, from what I lack in fitness, I should pick up in knowledge. So
yeah,
hopefully the two will balance out.
Yeah. Now I assume some of those trophies you have in the trophy cabinet there have got super cheap on them. Is that right?
Yeah. There's a few actually. There's Gold Coast race. What was that? Was that 2014? I think with Ryan Briscoe. That's one of the coolest trophies ever because that was a surfboard. And, I was actually just looking at the replay of that race the other day, and that was quite cool. And that was in the super cheap car from Walkinshaw's, and that was a very good weekend. And Ryan Briscoe is a fantastic driver.
Yeah.
And obviously still in the States now, still racing all sorts of things, sports cars and that sort of thing over there. But that was the last podium I had for the super cheap. But they're over the moon to be back involved with it, have a car themselves. They're really enthusiastic, and obviously after their quite public departure from being the naming rights at Bathurst, they're pretty keen to make a bit of a mark there as well in a different way. And,
yes, I noticed the car is pretty well embezzled with super cheap all over it.
Yeah, there's a bit of an incentive there to probably rub someone's nose into it, I think. But I don't need to be a brain surgeon to work out what that's about. But yeah, I mean, the good thing about it is I've known them for decades, and they were very good to me while I was with them and supported me quite a bit. Obviously, the staff have changed over there, and there's a new CEO and all the rest of it, but they still haven't lost the passion. They know motorsport as a brand is what they're all about, and the good thing about it, they never forget where they've come from and who their customer base is. Which is sometimes I think other categories forget that. You've got to look for a new audience, but never forget your old one. Especially in supercars, there's a lot of people there who've been there for a lot of years and very passionate about it, and never forget your old audience.
That's right, exactly. Now, speaking of old audience and new audiences, your co-driver Brock Feeney, 18. What do you know about him? You know a fair bit, I guess.
I know. Well, I probably know the family better than I know Brock, because it's actually Paul Feeney, who was a pretty handy motorbike rider.
That's right. Yeah.
And I actually met him through Barry Sheen, because Barry Sheen, the late great Barry Sheen, was a great mate of mine, and he was the reason I actually moved up to Queensland and drove for Stone Brothers. He and Paul were good mates because I come from a motorcycle background, and Paul raced in England as well, and so that's how I got to know Paul Feeney, the dad, and he actually was the Husqvarna and Kajiva imported to Australia, and actually had a personal sponsorship deal with him.
Okay.
When I was racing for Stone Brothers. So that's how we got a relationship there. So I've known Brock's dad for years, and so when Brock was just a kid, so and we still is basically. So that's how that relationship started. So it's quite cool actually that I know the family and a really nice family, down to earth. Not Hollywood, just real normal people. So and they've pedalled hard to get Brock where he is as well, and probably risked a lot along the way. So it's a pretty cool story actually, because they didn't get it handed to them, and had to work for it. And Brock works down at Norwell at the driver centre as an instructor, and sets up his own cars, and so he's mechanically minded as well. So and I like those sort of stories. I like the ones that the ones that have battled for it, or the battler, but also battled to get where they are, rather than just get it handed to them on a platter. And this story is exactly that. So it's pretty cool that he's got this sort of opportunity, and he's probably a bit overwhelmed at the moment, going, holy hell, what's going on here, and all of a sudden the media attention and all the rest of it. But he deals with it. He deals with it well, though. So
he's going to drive with Uncle Russell. Eh?
Yeah. Oh, enough of the uncle. So, but he, I mean, it's the thing about it is, and that's what I said to him yesterday. I sort of put him on one side and said, this is only the start of it, but this is only driving the car is only one part of it. And to be quite honest, up to a point, it's the easiest. It's outside the car that's the hardest, because that's where you have to work the hardest, is outside the car, because that's what keeps you in the game. Because there's too many newbies come along and go, well, all I have to do is jump in the car and go fast. Well, and some do that, and still don't make it because it's not enough. You have to know how to be an operator. You almost have to be a used car salesman outside the car and know what to do at the right time, and make sure you schmooze the right people and actually keep the sponsors happy and keep the fans happy. And there's a lot of things you got to do because you got to be just as successful when you're outside the car. So. I think he gets that, and he saw a taste of it yesterday, and how important it is, and because that's what happens. Because without one, the other one doesn't happen.
That's right. I guess that's one of the reasons Roland's got you there.
Yeah, well, it is, and I've always been very mindful of that. And I found my little niche along the way, which to this day still hangs around, and little name tags and stuff like that. But it's all part of it. It's all part of the theatre, because that's what makes you stand out from the crowd. Because, look, there's a lot of good drivers in the category. Does anyone know? Probably not.
Exactly.
I mean, if you stop anyone in the street and go, name me some supercar drivers, they'll probably go, Craig Lowndes, and, Shane Van Gisbergen, Jamie Whincup, and Chaz Mostert.
That's about it. That's
and
right.
And that'll be it. And they'd pull up at that. They don't know.
A lot of them go back more than they go forward too. With
exactly right. And that's all. And you'd be lucky if anyone would know that. So you've got to make yourself stand out in the crowd, because that's what gets you noticed.
Of course, you've set another record too with the youngest and the oldest team together with the difference in years.
Yeah.
I think you beat Paul Morris there, didn't you? Just
I beat him. I don't know what it was Jimmy Richards.
Jimmy there, of course.
Scofe, he was 55. Well, that was the year they won it. I don't know how old Scofe was, but obviously a lot older than 18. I don't know whether it's a good record to have, but anyway, record's a record, I suppose. I don't know whether you get a trophy or money for it, but anyway, work that out along the way.
Something on your CV, mate. Nothing else.
Yeah.
How's your mate Scafey going? All right?
No idea. No interest to find out. Basically,
not since he waved his fist at you.
I can't see too many interviews coming my way come Bathurst. So. Not at all.
Oh dear, they were good days, mate, weren't they?
They were, but that's a classic example. You remember that, don't you? So you remember the rivalry and that sort of thing, and that's what's missing. It's missing those sort of people that used to be just being combat basically, and that's what makes sport great. Is rivalries and sort of all that sort of thing, and that's what's missing out of the sport, because everyone's trying to be the nice guy.
Yeah, no black hats anymore, mate, is there?
No, not at all.
Not since you and Murphy left it.
Yeah. Well, one of my idols growing up was Alan Moffat.
Oh, of course. Yeah, everyone. Yeah.
He was the one that wore the black. Peter Brock was
He was the white hat.
The white knight, and Alan wore the black hat, but it worked for him too. So.
No, I could never forget. Scafey standing on the side of the track there waving his fist at you, and you drove over closer to him so you could hear him. That's all it was about, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, I was just giving him an indication that he was number one.
Dear, at least we can laugh about it. As you say, it's one of those memories that people still, as you were just talking about, one of those things that people still remember.
That's exactly right, and like I said, that's what's missing in the sport nowadays. But anyway, we might be able to relive a couple of those memories in October. So
yeah, let's hope so. And it looks like we might be able to look forward to seeing you in a few other things as well as Bathurst. But I guess Bathurst is the main vision of yours at the moment.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The rest is just to get race miles up, get things to race in between will be just to get sort of match fit as far as wheel-to-wheel combat going and that sort of thing. So, and even something like the stadium trucks is so remote from a supercar, as far as outright racing goes, they're insane, like wheel-to-wheel racing. So, and the same things apply, where to place a car, when you go, when not to go, and who to hit and who not to hit.
That's right,
and
yes.
It's all the same thing. So it doesn't have to be the same car to get race experience. And then in between that, I'll be, like I said, there's plenty of testing where that'll get me the back on the pace as far as inside the car, and we've got 3 or 4 days, I think, lined up, full test days, which is, they don't even get that in the main game. So we'll have plenty of laps and a couple of corporate days in between, no doubt. And
of course.
So come October, we should be right on the money.
Always handy those corporate days. Work out.
Oh yeah.
Yes, of course. And work out where the buttons are, where the pedals are, where they've changed.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, it doesn't matter if there's someone sitting next to you or not. It's still laps. So
yeah, that's right.
It's still laps, and that's the main thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, mate. Look, thanks very much for taking the time. I do appreciate it, Russell.
Yeah, no problems at all. All right, that's good as gold. Cheers.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, mate. See you later.
Okay, bye.
There we go. Thank you, Russell Ingall on Speed Sport Talk.